Hello and welcome to the Home Care Millionaire podcast, the show where compassion meets prosperity. I am Paul Tembande alongside my beautiful wife Joan here. We're honored to be your hosts. Together, Joan and I have built a home care agency from a little over $12,000 credit card loan. Okay, some people called it a gamble at that time. We've built it into an 8-figure business serving thousands of families over the years. And now we're here to share the lessons, strategies, and the mindset shifts that help us get there so that you can too.
We launched this podcast because the home care industry is often misunderstood. Too many people don't see the sacrifices owners and their caregivers make every single day, or the powerful impact agencies have on seniors and their communities. And truthfully, we looked around and realized there were not many podcasts out there shining a light on this industry. So we felt called to create the Home Care Millionaire podcast.
This podcast is designed for the purpose-driven provider. For those of you who feel called to care, but also want to build a thriving, sustainable business. Each week, we're going to share with you real-life stories, proven strategies, and powerful mindset shifts that will help you move from just surviving to thriving.
Absolutely. Our tagline says it best. Compassion is your calling, wealth is your reward. And here on the Home Care Millionaire podcast, we're going to show you how to embrace both.
So get ready for inspiration, practical insights, and the encouragement you need to impact lives, build wealth, and create a legacy through your agency. So hit subscribe, folks. Join us on this journey to transform your business, your mindset, and your future. Welcome, folks, to the Home Care Millionaire podcast. You know, I'm so excited to welcome this wonderful couple, Jeffrey and Lori. These folks have been serving seniors in their communities for many, many, many years and doing it very well. Yeah. You know, the folks we learn from, we lean on, we ask them questions, and we thought it'd be great to bring them on to just share with us how they do it. They operate out of Florida, which is a state that has its own challenges. It's different. We all have challenges, right, Jeffrey and Lori? But you guys have it's different down there. You operate differently from what we do. We're W-2, so all our folks are employees, but you guys are not. Your employees, your caregivers are not employees of yours. So that's a different take to this, and we're gonna have you share some of that with us. Joe, you wanna?
Yeah. So we are really excited to hear the story, your journey, and the wisdom that you bring into home care. So let's get started.
Yes, without further ado, let's welcome Lori and Jeff to the Home Care Millionaire podcast. Welcome, folks.
Thank you so much, Paul and Joan. It's wonderful to see you. We've seen you many, many years, maybe once or twice a year at conferences, but this is a little more intimate and is definitely, I think, a little bit more rewarding.
That's right. We're really honored to be on with you and that you asked us. And we're excited to see where our conversation takes us. And if I can, just real quick, I said to Lori for a long time that we're very fortunate, I think, to be in this industry and to provide these, a bubble of care around folks that really need it. And we get to do well while doing good. Right, doing well. It's been financially, and we get to do it by through providing services and really improving the quality of life for folks that need a little bit of extra help to stay at home and retain their dignity and their independence and their safety. They don't want to go into a facility. They want to be in a familiar environment, and we've been doing it. We've been fortunate to be doing it for over 25 years now. And
wow, way to go.
Very excited. I'll ask Lori maybe if it's okay to give a little bit of our origin story and how we got into the business.
So ironically, my mom started visiting angels down here in Southeast Florida. We service Palm Beach and Broward County. I know you remember my mom well.
Yes, great lady.
She was a wonderful woman. Great mom, great businesswoman, great friend.
Great mother-in-law.
Yes, very good, Jeff.
I'll tell you what I really feel later. But
there you go.
Ironically, today is the anniversary of her passing. She passed away.
Oh, really?
Years
Really?
That's right.
So,
So rest in peace.
a little
Yeah,
kiss
so rest
from
in peace.
above is what kind of brought us together
Yes.
today. And this really
Oh.
is a huge legacy to her and also to my grandmother, her mother, who kind of started the whole
Okay.
thing. Grandma Sylvia got
Wow.
early dementia, and really,
Okay.
my grandfather had no idea how to handle much of anything other than being the patriarch of the family. Very, old
Yes.
school. He was the
Breadwinner,
patriarch, the breadwinner,
right?
and grandma was the
Yes.
social calendar and the cook and bottle washer and rearing of the kids and
Took care of the
grandkids.
house.
Yes.
So
Yes.
she got ill, and they tried to find some help, and they went through 8 different home care companies in 14 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And
Whoa.
every one, there was a problem that seemed to get bigger and bigger as they went on to each company. And I can give you some details there maybe later on, but it was pretty scary and pretty horrific. And so my mother and my grandfather butted heads, and he said to her, well, if you could do it any better, do it yourself. And that was all
Oh,
she
wow.
needed. The light bulb went off,
Okay.
and she started
Okay.
research. The internet was pretty young at that point, back in 1998, 1999.
Right.
And she found a listing of home care franchises and started to call them. There weren't that many on the list, but it was alphabetical.
Yeah.
And she didn't
Mhm.
like what she heard until she got to V. V is for
Oh,
visit,
wow.
and
There you
she
go.
spoke with the folks up in, at the time they were up by you guys in the Baltimore area, I believe.
Yes.
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 Jeff and Larry. And a couple of weeks later, they flew up. My grandfather and my mother flew up to meet with them, and then
Okay.
that was it. It was signed,
Wow.
sealed, and delivered. Mom came back to Florida and started, getting her licensure and figuring out how to make this business work. And I laugh at your comment about starting out with, a $12,000 credit line on your credit card. She too did exactly that.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And she was terrified to do it initially. And my grandfather said to her, you got to spend money to make money. And that's how she started. And thank goodness she did that, because
Yes.
26, almost 26 years later, we have a thriving business.
There you go.
And
There
is,
you
like
go.
Jeff said, we do well by doing good. I've
Yeah.
got an incredible team in the office of about 15 staff members in the office who have been with us. My COO, Chief Operating Officer, has been with us for 19 years.
Whoa.
Right.
Wow. Way to go, Lori and Jeff. Way to go.
I've got an
That's
incredible staff. And I joined my mom about 3 years in. She opened up in July of 2000. I joined her in 2003, I believe,
Okay.
if my memory serves me well. And it's
Okay.
been nonstop since. And it's
Wow.
a wonderful roller coaster of a ride.
Wow. Congrats. Congrats. I know Jeff was going to weigh in. Congrats. That's a great story. I tell you, that is really. And I got to tell you, before I know Jeff going here, your mom was a wonderful teacher to us. I got to tell you, very loving, very caring, very funny.
Yes.
Almost funny, I tell you that.
We called her Snaz Girl. That was her
Yes.
name, right?
Yes.
Snaz Girl. I mean, so many funny stories.
Yes. Mom
Wonderful
was
lady.
awesome. May her soul rest in peace.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you.
Yes. Jeff, I know you wanted to weigh in. Please go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah. So what's really great about the culture that Phyllis, my late mother-in-law, brought
Yes.
to the company is obviously caring for the senior was the bedrock principle that she wanted to perfect, right? It's something that she did not see carried out well with any of these other companies that she had hired.
Okay.
But the thing that she thought would make a real difference, and it has, and it continues, is what grounds our business. And I think what makes us so successful is that the caregiver for us is the main attraction.
Thank you.
We treat the caregiver, we recognize the hard work that they do, sometimes actually quite often the thankless work that they do day in and day out to elevate these seniors and to really give them the best quality of life that is possible under their circumstances. And they do this it's very often a calling for them. It's not just a job to get a paycheck. Every once in a while we run into some of those, but really we have a pretty thorough vetting process.
There you go.
In order to find the right personality. Once we have the right personality, we know that they're going to give appropriately, I'll say, loving care. They act in place of a child very often, and we try to treat the caregivers that work with us like gold.
There you go.
We make a big deal every year for their birthday. God forbid they experience some hardship in their lives. We mourn with them, we cry with them as much as we celebrate with them. And even though Florida is an interesting state in that there are a couple of different models of delivery for home care, the one that we subscribe to or that we fall under is what's called a licensed nurse registry. And so the caregivers that work with us are all by state statute independent contractors. So they work with us, not for us. And so we try to be their best partner every day. And we do that by treating them with dignity and respect, by honoring the work that they do, and by really recognizing it and letting them know how much we appreciate them. And at the end of the day, and I think you may agree with this, the clients, we could have a client that calls us on a Monday and is no longer a client on Tuesday, right?
That's true.
And then we have clients that have been with us for over 10 years. So obviously it runs a gamut, but the caregivers have been with us. We have caregivers that work with us since the day that Phyllis first opened her doors.
Wow.
Oh my
Congrats.
goodness.
And thank you. And we think they come back because of the way we honor them and shower them with affection and respect. And I think all too often they don't get that respect from other company owners.
That's true.
And it's a shame because they earn it every day.
Yes. Couldn't agree more. I mean, the work, like you say, I mean, you both of you said the work that they do. I mean, if it weren't for the caregivers, we wouldn't have a business, right? We wouldn't be able to serve these people. And like you said before, it's about service first. I mean, that's the thing that really got us really interested. If Joan wants to kind of weigh in on that.
Yeah, actually, we believe in our office that a happy employee or a happy caregiver makes a happy client.
Right.
I know, in the corporate world, the client comes first, but we had a caregiver before we had a client.
That's right.
So to us, they are our raving fans, they are our brand ambassador, they are our company, they are the face of the company. So you've invested well in them and it shows in your results, right? In your success. So, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And it's interesting because, it's about caring. I mean, we're in the caring business, aren't we? Well, how about caring for our own?
That's right.
Yeah. Well, folks, I was going to ask you guys that. I know that any business, and Lori and Jeffrey, you guys started with Mom 2 years into when she was in the business. I know that there's been ups and downs. Any business has that, right? I mean, and I know you guys have been tremendously successful. Like I said before in the opening, that we look up to you guys. You guys are our role models. I gotta say this. And Joan and I are proud to be, looking up to you guys because you gotta have some, the lead people, right? And so we look up to you guys tremendously. And what has it been? I know that you have a lot of success along the way, but I know you've got some challenges too. I mean, how has it been? How have you been able to navigate some of those challenges? And then we'll talk later about some successes as well. You want to go down that road with us?
Sure. What do you think our largest challenges?
I think the biggest challenge for us came about in 2013.
Okay.
So in 2013, some of the federal laws changed about the companionship services, right?
Yeah.
And so just for anyone that's unfamiliar with the companionship services exemption, or the CSE, as we call it in the biz.
Yeah.
So there was a law that was passed by Congress that said for anyone working in the home that was providing care to a senior or someone that needed care. So it could be someone that had physical disabilities that wasn't necessarily a senior, for example.
Correct.
That they would be exempted from certain Fair Labor Standards Act protections so that they could give consistent care to their charge, right, to the individual that they're caring for, and so that they could be effectively a member of the household.
Okay.
So there was an executive decision in 2013 that effectively overturned that law. Not really sure how that all happened, but it's fairly complex. And it changed it so that CSE was done away with. And that made things quite challenging for people, for seniors that we service in Florida, who needed significant amounts of care, but who were unable, for example, to afford overtime pay. I'll use that as the easiest example. So we used to have fairly frequently, we would have a client that would need around the clock care. So 168 hours per week. There are 168 hours in a week. So, and so very often a caregiver would say, you know what, this is not moving pianos and digging ditches, right? A reasonable portion of a caregiver's day is waiting to do something else, right?
Correct.
Now they do hard work and they do loving work. And I don't want to denigrate in any way the work that they do, but some of it is sitting there waiting to do the next thing. And so a lot of caregivers that we worked with asked for a 12-hour shift, similar to what nurses do, except they're on their feet the whole time for 12 hours.
That's right.
Right, so they really are cranking. In any case, so a caregiver may choose to work 5 or 6. We had some that chose to work 7 days a week, because they became part of the family. It wasn't really work. It was where they went and where they felt comfortable. They often had their own room or their own, their own chair, their own space, and they had their own food, and it was really quite inviting. Well, and it was excellent for the care recipients because they had 1 or 2 or perhaps a third caregiver. And so they didn't have a rotating door, revolving door of people coming through their house and have to teach each new person exactly how I like my oatmeal and whatever else.
But with the uncertainty of the new repeal of these companionship services exemption, and at the time concerns over the independent contractor versus employee scenario, there were a lot of clients who were getting very heavy hours for a week, over 40 hours by multiple caregivers, by single or 2 caregivers, now had to, because they couldn't afford the overtime, now had to knock down each caregiver's weekly hours, no more than 40. So for example, a dementia patient who was previously getting, having 2 or 3 caregivers in the house for 168 hours, you now had to have 6 caregivers in there because in order to make up for not paying the overtime. And so for a dementia patient, that's very, very disconcerting. They're having a hard time remembering, the 1 or 2 people, and now they're faced with the revolving door of potentially 6 caregivers in a given week. And so that was probably our largest struggle, I think, over the last 10 years or so. Actually, more than that now, 15 years.
We're old.
We're getting old. COVID was probably the second.
Right.
Difficult.
Oh, there you go.
I can remember getting that first phone call that a client of ours was tested positive. And we literally had big poster boards on a conference room table trying to trace the contact of which caregiver was exposed to that and where else did they go. And it was quite challenging getting through that. But fortunately, we figured out a good process, and moving forward, it worked well for us. That was probably the second one.
Those are probably the 2 biggest challenges that we faced in the past 15, let's call it 15 years. Right. Now, in the first 10 years, there was normal growing pain. I forgot to file this paperwork with the IRS. So
let's not say that.
I never did that. That's an example.
That's right. We all go through that. That's right.
Running the business the first 10 years, trying to, the name Visiting Angels, when we first started in 2000, was not nationally known. And so it was a bit of a challenge with referral sources. Now, fortunately, and I'm sure you feel the same thing. Visiting Angels, the name recognition is incredible throughout the country. I'll walk into the supermarket at the end of a business day with my name badge on, and someone will see the logo and start singing the jingle.
Oh, there you go. There you go. There you go.
I mean, that's just a wonderful feeling to know that we are so recognized. And there's lots of there were some memes out there in the last couple of years.
Even in the presidential election, in the main cycle, and not to endorse one candidate or the other, but Visiting Angels did come up, and
I've actually heard it also on call-in radio shows where
really? Wow.
The adult daughter will call in and mention that she's taking care of, she's in the sandwich generation, right? She's taking care of her parents and she's taking care of her children. And the woman who runs that radio show said, well, why don't you call Visiting Angels?
Wow.
I was shocked. I was driving at the time listening to the radio, and I almost, stopped short thinking, wow, that was some great publicity. Thank you very much.
Yes. And I gotta say this, Lori and Jeff, that it's testament to the work we do, the work you guys do, right? The work that all of us in across the nation do. I mean, we do great work, and folks are attracted to that because, as you guys said before, folks don't get the love and caring that we really, practice in our various offices. I mean, and because it's about service first, it's about caring first. I think once you carry that, and again, I mean, that's what we've experienced. I'm sure you've experienced that in your offices. Is that when you put that service first, because one of the questions I got to tell you, one of the questions when we were purchasing our franchise years ago, and that we asked Jeffrey. After, I think we had purchased, and we asked Jeffrey afterwards.
We went to the open house.
Oh, okay. Was it that what it was? Why don't I let you?
Yeah. So we went to the open house, and we were like, okay, are we really ready for this? Are we going to do this?
Yeah, because back then, back then, Jeffrey and Jeff and Lori, we had corporate jobs. Well, corporate,
we felt we had a right
work for the company. Okay, corporate jobs. So we thought we were doing pretty well. So Joan said, well, Jeffrey, if we do this, because I mean, we started out. I don't know about you guys down in Florida. We started out. We were paying our rates to clients with $11 something an hour.
$11.25.
That's what we're charging the client, okay? And then so I paying the cable maybe $8, something like that. So the margin wasn't it wasn't huge at all. That's how we started. Remember we had borrowed money to start this. So it was. So Joan was like, well, and we had three kids under the age of 5 or whatever it was, under the age of 7. So it was a struggle. Joan had a day job. I had a day job. So Joan was like, Jeffrey, are we gonna really be able to make money doing this? It was a question. I mean, Jeffrey, well, he said, Paul and Joan, just provide the service.
Just do a good job, and the money will come.
If you do a good job, the money will come. Yeah. And Jeff and Lori, we haven't strayed from that. It's about service first. It's about doing.
So interesting that you say that. When I was also in the corporate world, so was Jeff. Jeff actually has been back and forth into the company over 20 years or so, based on his own career, outside of home care. I came from 18 years of corporate world, finance and operations.
There you go.
And, I actually came in to help my mom with an Excel spreadsheet.
Oh boy!
Wow.
And that was it. We have her recording saying something to the effect that Lori came to dinner and never left. And that was the story. I truly did. She asked me to come in to help her with an Excel spreadsheet. I was working for a large telecommunications company at the time. And I came in on my day off and was helping her, and the phones were ringing. She only had, I think, 1 or 2 employees. Okay. And the phone kept ringing. And I'm like, oh, gosh, I got to answer the phone.
That's right.
And the only thing I knew about her business was the name and kitchen table talk at, the dinners that we would have. And I answered the phone because, you got to answer the phone.
That's
and
right.
That's right. A woman looking for services for her mom who was ill. And I must have spent about 10 or 15 minutes on the phone. I got an appointment with the lady to come out and meet with her mom. And when I hung up the phone, my mom was standing in the doorway of the office I was sitting in, and she was clapping.
I could just see her. I could see her.
She basically put it out there like, you are meant to do this,
There you go.
you should
There you
consider it. And ironically, the way things work out, I think that they're kind of come from above.
That's right.
I ended up leaving that big telecommunications company.
Wow.
There was some merger activity going on, and I raised my hand and I said, I'll get out.
There you go.
And then I came and started working for Mom and learned the business really from the ground up. When we started, I was maybe the 4th employee in, and now we've got 15 at the time. I can remember at the time we had about 38 clients.
Right.
Was that the number?
Right. And it never seemed to change.
Right.
We would get 3 clients in a week and we'd be so excited, and 3 would
pass on.
It
was one step forward, 2 steps back.
Yes.
And so looking back, 25, 26 years later, where we have, oh gosh, I would say at any given time about 170 clients perhaps out there. We've got 400 caregivers on our registry.
Wow.
And they come back and forth. There's lots of home care companies here in the state of Florida. We are licensed by the Agency for Healthcare Administration up in Tallahassee. We are licensed, as Jeff mentioned earlier, a nurse registry, and there's also a home health agency, which is employee-based versus a nurse registry, which is independent contractor-based.
Right.
Okay.
Good for
And
yeah,
all good.
Yes. Yeah. I was just going to add on. Go ahead, Jeff.
The bottom line is taking care of the folks that providing the care services to the folks that need it. And we're all in that same, we're all pulling the rope in that same.
Yes.
I never ever thought that I would come into this business. I was big corporate America. Never really thought of dealing in this type of work. And I will tell you, probably within the first 3 months that I was working with my mom, we had a client, I'll just say her name is Lillian.
Yes.
Who we got a call from the daughter who was up north in New York.
Okay.
Mom had just come out of the hospital with a heart valve transplant and needed some care. So we found a wonderful caregiver for her. And Lillian used to like to come to my house on Sundays. I too, Joan, I had 4 kids under the age of 10 as I was raising the business. Right. So I certainly know what it means to be have a circus at home. And Lillian used to come with me to my house on Sundays and would sit in the backyard while the kids would swim in the pool and laughing and splashing. And it brought her so much joy to sit on the chaise lounge with me and listen to the kids. We would read People magazine. Developed such a beautiful relationship. And I'll tell you, that caregiver made this woman who, when she came home from the hospital at 85 pounds soaking wet and miserable, she was very unhappy, not very kind.
She was ready to go.
She was ready to go. And this caregiver, within a few weeks, had her up and about, so much so that she ended up volunteering at a local museum 1/2 day a week. And she looked
she went back to the beauty parlor and got her hair
done and her nails done, and really and I saw that change that a caregiver can make in somebody's life, more specifically at the end of someone's life. And it brought so much joy to me. And I said, wow, if we could do this for other people and make a living at it, my gosh, this is the best industry we could ever ask for.
Wow. Thank you.
And that's the difference we make, right? That's the difference we make.
Absolutely.
And, I'll just say real quick, I'll toot my own horn for a second. But
of course.
Lori's background was in the corporate world. I was in the military. And
well, thank you for your service, Jeff. Thank you for your service.
Thanks. I know I had too fun of a career to be thanked. But I was a helicopter pilot, and I wound up doing some other work. Anyway, but what a common theme that I found for folks that were career military is that they had something that I refer to as a servant's heart. So servant's heart is something that I find I brought forward into this industry as well. And it's not a term of denigration in any way. It's a term of enlightenment, recognizing that you can do for others. And in a very selfish way, it was quite fulfilling for me. So whether I was in the military and serving my fellow soldiers, or here in our industry and serving both our caregiver population and our client population and our employees, obviously, our day from the time we wake up till the time we go to sleep is what can we do for them? And because that is part of who we are and what we do, it shines through. And I think that has brought us a measure of success, that we're willing to work with and for people to help them achieve the ends that they want.
Well said.
Wow.
We should get married.
That's right.
Wow. You said it all, Jeff. You said it all. You said it all. I mean, you said it all. It's about service. It's about service. Putting others first. I mean, because that's and I gotta tell you, I mean, I came into the industry the same way. I did not believe in it. I mean, I wanted to serve, but I did not believe that it could really morph it to what it's become. But to your point, Jeff and Laura, you said the same thing. We just go out and decide to just serve. Be a servant leader, as it were. Right? I mean, try to look out for these people out there, because the work we do is so important. I mean, you guys employ north of 400 caregivers. Hey, you're putting food on this family's tables. You're serving north of 200 clients. They're being cared because of what you guys do, what Mom started, and what you guys are doing today. I mean,
it's pretty amazing when you put it like that.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, we're making a difference. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, it's not lost on me. As we just closed out 2025, and as we review the numbers from the previous year and set forecasts and budgets for the following year, which she does, not me. She's the finance.
That's right.
But as we look at the millions of dollars that go back into the community through us, it is a significant point of pride. Sure, we do okay, right? We're very happy and proud of the business that Lori has built, and I have just hung on to.
It's teamwork here.
Well, yeah, but the reality is that we have elevated lots of folks, and we provide a necessary service. It's an important service, and our demographics here in Palm Beach and Broward counties are pretty optimal for our industry, right? We have a significant senior population. We have a significant caregiver population. We're very fortunate. The challenge, one of the biggest challenges that we face, however, is that how many nurse registries are there in our county?
I don't know about in our county. In the state of Florida, there's just over 1,300 nurse registries. The majority of them being in what we call the Tri-County South Florida area. So Palm Beach County, Broward County, and Miami-Dade County. And that's not to include the home health care agencies, who there's lots of them as well. In fact, in our building, we are on the first floor of a 6 or 7 story building. When we first moved in, there were 6 home care companies in the building.
Just in the building.
Wow.
Yeah, talk about competition. It's what we've seen lately is a lot of private equity firms coming in. I don't know if you've seen that in your area.
Oh, yeah.
And so at first it was a little nerve-wracking, thinking, wow, they're coming in, they've got tons of cash. And but I am not so afraid of them anymore. I think that this is a very intimate industry. It's very personal. And I think that it needs to be given the qualities of that nature.
That's right.
And it's not just about money.
100%. I agree.
It's about making sure that it's a right match with the caregiver and the client, making sure that all caregivers are thoroughly vetted and trained, and that clients, as best as they can, treat the caregiver with respect.
Yep.
Yes. No, I agree. 100%.
Yeah,
Well,
we
I'll tell
have
you what,
actually we've fired I'd say over 25 years, maybe a handful of clients who we felt didn't work with our philosophy and culture.
Right.
They weren't kind to the caregivers,
Yeah,
and we told them you have many other options. Go find them.
that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
Let me just thank you guys. This has been awesome. This has been awesome.
I
Jeff,
was just
Jeff and Lori. I mean, just to close us out, we've taken so much of your time today. What key pieces of advice would you say you want to, put out there for folks who are looking to start this business, or who already or existing home care owners who are looking to scale the business? What pieces of nuggets, say 2 or 3, would you want to share with our audience here today?
Okay. You want to go first?
No, go ahead. You can.
All right. You have to come into it for the right reasons. We have seen folks in our area that have come to us and asked questions about startups, starting this type of company. And they think, especially here in South Florida, because of the demographics here, all I have to do is file the paperwork with the state, and then I should go find a private wealth manager, because the money bags, I have to dodge the money bags falling out of the sky so I don't get a concussion, right?
That's right.
Well, that's not the case. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of nights and weekends. That's something that nobody really thinks about, right? It's a lot of being responsive to not only the clients and the caregivers, but the family members
yeah.
that are worried about their loved ones and listen, when they call us, and you probably experienced this as well, it's the first time, most often, it's the first time that they've ever been in this circumstance like this. They don't even know what questions to ask.
That's right.
And you have someone that's looking to come into the business, and they think that all just handles itself, and it doesn't.
No.
So the business one can achieve great success in this industry, but you have to come to it from a very grounded and rational point of view and perspective. You have to be willing to sacrifice your nights and weekends. And unfortunately, we had 4 little kids. That sometimes we missed a hockey game, and not often. I go to the hockey game.
One of us would make it.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
But that's probably the biggest challenge, and the biggest piece of advice I would say is, it's like any other business. It's going to take way more effort than you ever contemplated. But if you stick with it and persevere, you can achieve great success.
Awesome.
The
Thank you.
only thing I would add to that is it is a balancing act. Yes, we are in this with heart and soul and wanting to take care of people, but it is also a business.
Yes.
And business comes down to the numbers. And so you've got to pay attention to the numbers just as much as you're paying attention to the Lillians of the business.
That's right. That's right.
And I think some people stick to what they know best, which is wonderful, but then find the professional who can come work with you, who can handle those other things. So if you're not great at marketing, get a good marketer. If you're not good at finance and accounting, find yourself a really good finance person.
That's right.
That's I think the toughest thing was to balance things.
Wow.
Awesome.
Thank you for such wonderful nuggets.
Wow.
Come in with the right mindset and get the help where you need it, right?
That's right.
That's
So-
right.
And then also that it's a process. Go ahead, Jeff.
Can I add one more thing?
Please,
Sure.
please, Jeff. Please.
Work with your spouse.
Um,
So Lori and I are very fortunate that we like each other and we love each other.
That's right.
And we are a couple that can handle being around each other most of the day, every day, or at least I can handle it. Sometimes she gets annoyed with me.
The joke is he works for me at the office and he works for me at home.
Hey, listen, you and I, we're in the same boat here. So,
Right.
I hear you, my brother. Same here.
It's interesting that you bring that up, and then I'll kind of wrap this up. It was challenging when I worked with my mom. The mother-daughter thing is
That's
not
right.
easy, as much as we respected and loved each other. And it's similar with a spouse. We love and respect each other, but it takes a little bit to kind of get that groove going in working with your family member or your spouse.
Right.
It does.
One amazing lady called Padre
whom they know, they all know.
Saved us. She said, "Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane."
Right. That's right.
That's right.
She
That's right.
was my absolute amazing mentor when mom was still here. And she would get the phone calls from my mom, and she'd get the phone calls from me, and she really helped mediate a lot of these.
There you go. There you go. Wow. Thank you also, Lori and Jeff. Thank you again so much.
Our pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
To be and share. And so we can't thank you enough, really. We can't thank you enough. The wisdom you've shared with us here today. I know our audience is going to benefit from this. And we just thank you so much for your time.
Our pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. We'll see you soon.
We'll see you soon. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today on the Home Care Millionaire podcast. We hope you found inspiration, encouragement, and practical tools you can apply right away in your own journey. Our mission is simple, folks, to shine a light on the incredible impact that home care owners and their caregivers make every single day, and to give you the mindset, strategies, and faith-filled wisdom to build both purpose and prosperity.
Because here is what we believe: compassion is your calling, wealth is your reward. If this episode spoke to you, we'd love for you to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you like more resources or have questions for Paul and I, just head over to askjoanandpaul.com. We'll be honored to connect with you there.
Until next time, folks, remember, you have what it takes to build wealth, create freedom, and leave a legacy through your agency. We're here cheering you on every step of the way. Bye for now.